I'm so worried. I knew this was going to happen. I knew that they were going to dangle fairies over my head, and only disappointment would be there. But The Sims just tweeted their new quarterly teaser, their roadmap that takes us all the way through to August. And I have some great news. There's actually no kits listed on it, which is an absolutely wild thing to say. First of all, I think we need to count our lucky stars. Thank you potentially for Fairies for looking out for us, but I'm scared that it is or isn't going to be Fairies. But let's take a look at this roadmap together, and then we can yell about all of our thoughts and theories. So they tweeted a world of wonder to explore coming in The Sims 4. They didn't use the fairy emoji, which already I'm like, that definitely feels suspicious. That feels like they've chosen to not use that for a reason. We have the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, so it is an expansion. Nature's Calling event, Enchanted by Nature gameplay trailer, free base game update. Ooh, 2 free base game updates. So we do have a lot of like toadstools. This is also like a tiny little house by the looks of it. It might not be a tiny little house. They might have just made it look like small depending on like the stuff around it, but this looks like a big old tree. Then we have some books, a little plant pot, a kind of like potion, I guess. This like tree guardian spirit of some sort. Of course, a little gnome. Let me move my face so you can all see it. Then we have this little creature. I don't think it's gonna be fairies. I have a feeling that the stuff that they have spoken about, which I will get into because there was a whole kind of like teaser before this. There was a website that actually gave us some information about what to expect in what we now know is an expansion. One, I'm scared even if it is fairies, because they'll be in an expansion. And I don't particularly like occults in expansion packs. I wasn't a massive fan of ghosts, mermaids, and aliens, obviously terrible. Ghosts are a little bit better, but they still didn't really feel like super fleshed out. They kind of just felt the same as spellcasters, where you have like a couple of things that you can do, but realistically it just kind of feels like a cheat and a way to like cheat the game. And that's the biggest downfall of spellcasters in my opinion, whereas I've personally always felt, and this might not be for everyone, but vampires definitely have more of like distinct personalities based on the powers that you can choose. You kind of have like the good vampires who like only drink plasma fruit and they don't drink from humans. Then you kind of have like the neutral ones, and then you also have like the evil, like all-knowing vampires, kind of like Vlad. Werewolves kind of stepped even further into that because of course you did in fact have the different packs, and you could kind of decide if you were going to go the more like rebellious route or if you wanted to like help nature and stuff. But from what we've heard about this expansion, it just kind of feels like an amalgamation of so many other packs in my personal opinion. I literally tweeted out the other day, I want to go back, I want to play outdoor retreat, seasons, and cottage living like all together, because this just feels like it is just kind of a regurgitation of like all of those things. How many times can they do something to do with like gardening? Like, step away. Sims team, put the garden shears down. You don't need them to make a good pack, I promise. But yeah, just like these creatures and this gnome make me think that it's not getting fairies. Anyway, we do have a little mortar and pestle over here, which I think is probably gonna be tied to the new skill. We've obviously already kind of seen about the Nature's Calling event. We know that we're getting the Shroiler in it, and it is actually a gameplay event, so you do have to play the game and like go on like little quest hunts, like little fetch quests. Feel like neither of the free base game updates are really like showing potentially what could come with the free base game updates here. No idea. This does look like a little secret gateway to maybe somewhere, maybe the fairy realm. I just doubt it. These also look like lightning bolts on the tree, which makes me think of like a new harvestable, maybe like a new power or something like that. But this was the website. This is somethingisgrowing.com. I'll actually leave a link to this down below, but it says something is growing, take a peek inside. You have like these birds tweeting, and then you have this like music playing, which does feel quite mystical. But let me take you back to the first point that we got. So we had get lost in Innisgreen. I think that's how you pronounce it, or Innisgreen. I don't know. They basically said, Simmers, we want you to touch grass, as if you don't do that every day, because honestly, the reality is probably a lot of us play with gardening. So actually, it's probably the thing that we do the most. So they're like, yeah, they're really into gardening. Let's just give them more packs about gardening, when it's like, that's actually one of the best built out hobbies, and it's the best way to like make money, and that's why we all do it. Like, we are actually craving something else, like anything else apart from gardening. You peek through the leaves and see a quaint town. It's giving maybe like Scottish Highlands. It also could just be like another like European world. It's kind of giving life and death and cottage living world. The sign reads Innisgreen, a beautifully lush world where Sims live in harmony with nature. You discover there are 3 neighborhoods to explore. A quiet waterfront town where they're all about gnomes. A grove where nature and civilization blend together, and then an enchanting magical forest. So the magical forest does kind of give me at least a little bit of hope, because it said that like they're all about gnomes in a separate part of it. So maybe the magical forest is gonna like include fairies. Again, you have another mortar and pestle over here with some like bottles, which was definitely giving me outdoor retreat. That was definitely giving herbalism. And then you've got this like little fern growing in this like natural plant pot. Honestly, this could be like a beanstalk that like takes you to the forest, the enchanted forest. Then we had get lost in natural living. You wake up under the stars and see other Sims meeting their needs outdoors without beds or plumbing. Off the grid living, again, it's got an element of eco lifestyle and island living. I literally said on stream the other day, how many times can they give us like eco-friendly, like live off the grid? And someone said until they get it right, which I actually feel like eco lifestyle did that. I feel like they hit the nail on the head. That was all they needed to do. We already have bushes where our Sims can sleep and they can take care of their needs. We already have sleeping bags. I know not everyone has these items because not everyone owns every single pack, but like if you wanted that element, you would have bought those packs already. So like, why are they just giving it to us in a repackaged like place? You can already take care of your needs outdoors because you can pee, you can sleep, you can also find and forage stuff and eat it. So like, reality is, we've been doing this for years. Do you know how many people I've seen play Rags to Riches or starting a legacy challenge with absolutely nothing to their name? And what have they been doing? Meeting their needs outdoors. If it rains, you can shower in it. It blows my mind. You can shower in the waterfall, I'm fairly sure, in island living anyway, without beds or plumbing. You're hungry, but you spot some delicious looking mushrooms by a tree. We already have mushrooms in cottage living. Looks like you'll sustain yourself just fine. Get lost in 3 new traits. He farts, by the way. I'm actually going to turn him off because he giggles and farts and it's really annoying. 3 new traits will play a role in how Sims relate to their world. You befriend fellow plant lovers, which this I'm like fine with. We have a loves the outdoors. I don't really at this point know what else they can do with gardening unless like they treat it like The Sims 2 where you actually have to take care of like flower beds and stuff, which I've always said I would quite like to see. I like the realism of flower beds like dying in The Sims. I would also love it if you could actually take care of houseplants. I said it when we got blooming rooms and the greenhouse kit. I would love it if you could like propagate plants and like make baby plants out of the big ones, and you could like fully look look out for indoor plants. I guess you can use the harvestables that we have, but I mean like house plants, you know, like monsteras, ferns, pothos. Like, why am I blanking on all of these little cacti and stuff like that? My face is kind of covering also another little plant that is in a pot. So whilst this fern is living outside, this one is in a plant pot, and I would love it if you could take care of those, but it's not like I needed it in an expansion pack, you know, like that could have easily come in a stuff pack at some point, but they've fully forgotten about game packs. RIP. I wish this was a fairies game pack so bad. I would take a fairy game pack over this expansion. Enlightening encounters with mystical sims. All of this just makes me think that we're not getting fairies. They haven't focused on it like at all. I think if we're getting fairies, I fear they're gonna be like an NPC. They're gonna be like mystical creatures that you can like come across that like can play tricks on you and like pixies. I just want it as an occult. I want the Seelie and Unseelie fairies, like good versus evil. I've literally spoken about what I would like to see in a fairies pack in the past. I'm actually, of course, gonna go back to that video and like look at things that I said, and then also do a wish list for what I want this expansion to be, but that's my main one, and I don't think we're gonna get it, especially with the way they're putting like emphasis on mystical sims and the gnomes, and even have run-ins with disruptive sims. Again, we just had disruptive customers in businesses and hobbies. So are they just using like the same thing? Like they're just gonna prank us and stuff like that? Oh no, now everything's out of balance. Then get lost in ailments. You've been feeling a little funny. An ailment with strange effects has befallen you. We have sickness in get to work. You can become cursed in jungle adventure. I'm trying to think of other ailments. I guess my first pet stuff. You learn you have to work hard to put the cure together, but it's not all bad. It turns out honing the apothecary skill, so I definitely think that's where like the mortar and pestle and the potions are going to come into play, but again, we have herbalism, which can be cures. This also apparently says enchanted by nature in Simlish, this little like potion bottle. Who knows, it might even lead you to a new career path, so apothecary, I guess, is a career that you can have, which I'm not against. Hopefully it is like an active career. I'd be gutted if it wasn't. And then get lost in enchantment. You awaken at dawn to sound of high-pitched laughter, which again kind of gives fairies, but we've just heard those gnomes laughing in like a high-pitched giggle. Somehow both sweet and sinister. All of a sudden you're met with a magical presence. You're a little afraid at first, but you learn to embrace all the wonder and mischief these creatures' abilities can bring. Nurturing plants, influencing emotions, and a whole lot more you're yet to discover. This is kind of giving fairies, but is it giving you can be a fairy? It just says you'll like run into them. But I guess maybe learn to embrace is like, hey, you could also potentially be a fairy. Eyes blurry with sleep, you look around at your strange and wonderful surroundings, living at one with nature, with enchanting new friends, and even a new career. You have a feeling you'll be right at home here, and so your new life begins. Also looks like we have foraging, but again, I feel like you've had that forever in The Sims 4. Just as a little reminder, this is what we're getting in the Nature's Calling event. We do get 2 new recipes for the woodworking table. I would love to know what you all think. Do you think we're getting fairies? I am gonna be honestly not even cautiously optimistic. I fear I'm being cautiously pessimistic. Like, I don't want anyone to get their hopes up that fairies are gonna be an actual occult. Like, I know this little like bunny figure, whatever the hell this may be, has a wand, but there's just something in my body that is telling me that fairies are just gonna be like a little creature. However, during the Hottie Plays The Sims live stream, we did get this little teaser, which said that the trailer was coming soon, and this is definitely a fairy house, which this was a thing in The Sims 3. We had occult fairies, your sim could actually be a fairy, and then they used this house to actually like like go to parties, they could sleep in there. This helped with their needs, which I mean lines up with like taking care of your needs out in nature. But again, like it very much could be that the fairies are just like granting you a power to like access that house. Ooh, they've actually updated their blog post. There's a fairy. There's a fairy. There's a fairy. New gameplay, magical forest, and summer updates away. Okay, the wings just fluttered. Maybe I was just being too pessimistic. Maybe we are getting them. I'm scared. I'm still scared. Save the dates. Watch for twinkles in the forest on June the 12th for the reveal of Enchanted by Nature expansion. Get a more in-depth look at this whimsical world with a new gameplay trailer on the 26th of June, and embrace the call of the natural world with the pack releasing on the 10th of July. Venture into the great outdoors with the Nature's Calling event coming to base game on the 24th of June. Stay tuned for more information on its limited time event where you'll hone your Sims handiness skill to discover a long hidden secret of nature. I'm assuming that's just the toilet, but who knows. Bask in rays of sunlight draped in greenery descending from above. Are they just giving us like more hanging plants? That's all I can think of. And additionally, new skin customization options. Whoa. Will be available in another base game update on 19th of August. Keep an eye out for more information that will be shared in the days ahead. Okay, new skin customization. What are we wanting to see? I mean, now that we have the painting tool, obviously you only have that if you have businesses and hobbies, but they're kind of unstoppable when it comes to like skin customization now. That will definitely be interesting to see. I wonder what else they could do when it comes to skin customization. Are you a fairies truther, or are you kind of on the fence like me and not really knowing what we are getting? Do you want fairies? I definitely do, but I want to see them as a full-blown occult that actually has some like personality to them. I think out of all the occults, genuinely, fairies probably are the ones that you can like put the most personality into. But like I said, I am going to do like a renewed version of what I would want to see in this pack specifically. I know I've already kind of spoken about that a little bit, but thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to hear all of your thoughts and feelings down below, especially if you think we are getting fairies, what you would like to see for them. Because at this point, I feel like they need us to say what we want in an expansion pack when it comes to occults. But I appreciate you all, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.